I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, August the 30th, brought to you in part by Taleve by Norbrook. Unbreakable news: this affordable alternative to Draxxin delivers the same fast and long-acting, broad-spectrum activity that you expect from a tulathromycin injection, exclusively in plastic bottles. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market and Creston Livestock Markets up there in north central Missouri and south central Iowa. Creston, Iowa's got regular sales here on September the 6th and September the 20th, so be thinking about that. But a big special coming up early in October be the all-vaccinated calf and yearling sale, going to be Wednesday, October the 2nd. And Unionville Livestock Market will have special calf and yearling sales September the 10th and 24th. Northern Fed Market collapse, and it was really surprising to me to see how weak the demand appeared to be in the Northern Plains for fat cattle this week. They could not get any decent bids. We had some support early in the week on our futures, and you know, nothing happened, of course. But the guys in the Northern Plains were thinking that maybe they might gain a little bit of ground. But then we saw the board fall there later in the week, and if it falls on Friday, then it's going to be net quite a bit negative. But just couldn't get any bids really to surface for the most part. We haven't traded hardly any cattle at all, but I feel like we've already established the market in the Northern Plains from steady to as much as $4 lower. Now the Southern Plains trade mostly steady there, but again we've erased that northern premium for the higher quality cattle there, and just I tell you what, we're struggling through a down market right now, and I think we're going to have a lot of down market, but we've got to be able to manage it and get some bounces in the cash market too. Now on your cash feeders, they sold pretty well middle of the week, and even later in the week are selling really well. Of course, they were recovering early in the week from the big downturn early in the week a week ago. But we just got to learn to somehow try to hold the market here as we're coming off our all-time record highs, and just hoping to try to lengthen this good market here that we've had. And I mean, as a whole, we're still really high, but now we've seen this northern fat cattle market fall as low as it's been since April of this year, and that's a long time to go back, erasing all those gains that we saw. And our weighted averages on your 5 area fed cattle are going to be a lot lower without those extreme high northern cattle, unless we see them come in. If the board would happen to open higher on Friday, pretty good, then we might see them sell some cattle in the north quite a bit higher than we've sold so far, but I really doubt it. I tell you what, guys are just packers are playing hardball, and they did in the few large fat cattle auctions up there this week too. But been pretty tough there. But I did hear of one cattle feeder that sold cattle on Thursday, and they said that they wanted time on them, and he went ahead and gave them time on them, and then they called back later and said, yeah, go ahead and ship those tomorrow. So they're keeping their hand pretty close to their chest there, and they don't want to show. But tell you what, they out-traded the feedlots this past week. But just a tougher week here, and we're still got good demand for feeder cattle. I tell you what, this corn has been weak. Now it gained a little bit of ground on Thursday, but your crop tours were very impressed with what the yields are looking like here right before harvest, especially on your dryland Nebraska corn up there. And sometimes it really fails, but this year looking fantastic, which is great that they're having a bumper crop. It's tough on your grain farmers because they're not going to get paid much. They had to pay more interest on the money that they borrowed, and then of course all their input costs were higher this past year than they've ever been. But you know, we can still feed some cattle pretty cheap here, and it could hold the market on our cash feeders here a little bit longer. But I keep telling you guys, and you sure want to pay attention, when we see the bounces in this futures here, you've got to protect yourself. If you've got calves yet to sell, if you've got calves that are just being born, you need to go out there and find you a strike price on those LRPs. They're saving people here the last couple of weeks here on this down market. But get a hold of them at Livestock Risk Services. That's Dakota Moss and all of these agents that he works with. Find one that you're comfortable with. Give them a call. They've got all the answers. It doesn't cost anything to call and ask them. Ask them some questions. What's this going to cost me? You know, what happens if you know, if I'm going to sell my cattle, you know, in February, if I'm going to sell them in March or April. You know, just give them some scenarios. They do this stuff all day, every day, and they can tell you what it's going to cost, what your benefit is, and you know, ask them how come we haven't been seeing them LRPs offered way out next spring. And that's a question that I would like to know, and probably need to call and find out what the deal is on that. But it's the last feeder flash of the month. Seems like it always comes whenever I'm on the road and kind of out of sorts. But we've got your Punchy Pick of the Month winners here, and I'm going to give those to you. First, I got to give credit to the top 3 Kids Corral picks that I saw come in. Number 3, third place on the Kids Corral is Dennis Byrne there from Nottingham, Pennsylvania, and his grandson Bennett was helping him feed the bulls there, and showed no fear standing around the other side of the trough with those bulls. I thought that was pretty good Kids Corral pick. Second place on the Kids Corral pick is Taylor Fields. They were his toddler was giving a stick horse a drink. He'd wore that toddler out. It's probably hot. I'm not exactly sure where this picture came from, but it was hot, and he gave that stick horse a drink. And I was a stick horse kid when I was a toddler too. I still remember those days. Nothing better than a good stick horse there. But your top pick for the Kids Corral on the Punchy Picks was Charlie Lynn. And Charlie Lynn said they had a downpour during a shipping here recently in northeastern Oklahoma. They only had one raincoat. And so Will and Tyson decided that they would share that raincoat. They rode all the way to the back of the pasture, just like all the other guys that were gathering, stayed hooked, got those cattle gathered up, and then stayed out there and shared that raincoat and got those trucks loaded. So congratulations to Charlie Lynn on having the Kids Corral top pick there. Now, your Punchy Pick of the Month winners. Of course, the just one big winner be the first place gets all the prizes. But on number 3, third place comes out this month is going to be Kobe Hunt. The cows that he runs in Utah needed a pipe fence around them to keep the damn buffalo out. The buffalo kept crashing through their wire fence there, and so they had to get a pipe in there to try to keep the damn buffalo out. But the heck of it is, where that pasture set was an hour-and-a-half horse ride. They could not get pickups and trailers up in there. They had to helicopter the pipe up there. You look at them bringing this big gate in by helicopter. That can't be cheap, guys. Bringing a big generator in. So that's the way they had to get the pipe up there. This is a picture of his son Hoyt there. Packing that pipe up in there, and that wasn't an easy job, and that's pretty punchy right there. Second place on the Punchy Pick of the Month would be Heather Osnes, and I'm not sure about the pronunciation of that last name, but I asked my South Dakota friends, and none of them knew how to pronounce it any better than I did. So I hope that's right for Heather there out of Fort Pierce, South Dakota. They were checking water tanks. It was 104 that day. Now the youngest son, he always likes to play in the tanks when they get up there and check them out. But he recruited his older brother and his dad to get in that tank too when it's 104. Probably felt pretty good. But the Punchy Pick winner for this month and first place for this month's contest is going to be Bryson Basinger. But there's no description. I don't know where this picture was taken at. But if you look at this picture, it's pretty punchy. They've got a wild bull there. They've got at least one rope on him. The other rope by the one with the camera looks like it had a lot of slack in it, so not sure about that. Going through some rough brush there Palomina ain't liking it too good. Sure not going to like it when that rope gets tight, and likely a wreck fixing to happen there. But that was the punchiest pick that we got this month, and Punchy pick the month winner there. And Bryson's going to get a huge box delivered to his house, and it is going to be full of swag from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma, Beaver County Stockyards, NationalBeefWire, Feeder Flash. But then of course the best part of that prize is that whole case of Ferropiece, the revolutionary product that's scientifically proven. So we appreciate everybody taking part in the Punchy Pick of the Month contest this month. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. August live cattle futures were $1.12 higher at 184.87. Doesn't really mean anything. That's a spot month, but it's here late in the trading there. Hardly any open interest at all. Just trying to get up there, right in there close where they think the weighted average is going to be, but it's likely going to be a little bit lighter than that, as cheap as they sold fat cattle in the northern plains. But we'll have to see where they finish trading up here on Friday. October live cattle was down 72 cents at 177.90, and your back months all down from $1.07 lower to 157 lower. August feeder cattle down 37 cents, just trying to get in there tight with your CME cash feeder cattle index, but closing on Thursday at 243.17. September was down $1.80 at 239.50, and your back months down from 190 to 285 lower on your feeder cattle contracts out front there, and that was some stiff losses there. December corn was higher for a change, up 5 1/4 cents a bushel at 396. November beans up 15 1/2 at 992 1/2, and hard red winter wheat for December up 4 3/4 cents at 560 1/2. Your fat cattle trade, and we haven't seen a lot of trade. I'm sure there was more trade that happened on Thursday afternoon that they didn't have on the afternoon report. This is just what happened up through 2 o'clock, and I don't think these prices changed at all. Like I said, we'll see if the board opens higher. They could get a little bit more in the northern plains, but likely this is going to be your market for the week. Iowa sold 1,700 early on Thursday, 4,500 for the week. Live prices in Iowa on Thursday from 181 to 184, and that was steady to $4 lower on the price spread. It's largely 184, which wouldn't be that much lower, maybe a couple bucks lower, but still tightening that premium that the northern plains has been having over the southern plains here for quite a while. Nebraska traded a lot of cattle early on Thursday, 10,600 head. 16,300 for the week, so they're better than half done there in Nebraska, and likely traded a lot more cattle later in the day on Thursday. But live prices on Thursday early 183 to 185, largely 184. Dress trade in Nebraska from 288 to 292, and that's $3 to $5 lower than last week. Now Kansas sold 2,000 early on Thursday, just a few more than that for the week. And live price there in Kansas on Thursday was 182 to mostly 183, which would be mostly steady there. Texas only 700 head confirmed, but I'm sure they swung a few more gates there late on Thursday. But 183 on all the live sales in Texas on Thursday. Did see one fat cattle auction. Kelowna, Iowa had 600 head of fat cattle there, and conventional cattle in Kelowna selling at a big premium to what the direct market was, from 190 to 199.75. I think if I had a load of fat cattle that were high in quality right there in central Iowa, I would have took them over to Kelowna. But pretty good market there. That was $7 to $8 higher. Evidently some regional packers there needed some cattle there. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts were up 137 at 308.66. Selects down 144 at 296.19. Your slaughter 477,000 through the first 4 days of the week, 7,000 less than the previous week, 22,000 less than the same week a year ago. But we talked about how your carcasses are just so much heavier, and that's making up the tonnage there. And your actual slaughter information for the week ending August the 17th had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 931 pounds a record for this time of year. That was 26 pounds heavier than a year ago and 31 pounds heavier than the 5-year average. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states, late in the day on Thursday after your trade, 242.23. That was 54 cents higher, so pretty good feeder market there on Thursday where it was tested. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index, very close to that at 242.64. Coming to you here from Ruidoso, New Mexico. Going to be taking bids from with DV Auction. Online bids for the Ruidoso Select Yearling Sale on Friday and Saturday evenings here in Ruidoso. So if you're interested in that, get online and check out that sale. Talk about your big feeder sales on Thursday. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas had 3,500. Feeder steers weighing from 7 to 900 pounds were $2 to $6 higher than last week. The bigger steers weighing over 9 were about steady. Heifers, middleweight heifers there weighing from 6 to 7.5 sold $2 to $4 higher. Heavier weight heifers over 7.5 traded kind of uneven. Salina was your National Beef-Wire stick-out sale of the day. And you look at this automated marker report and the best tested weights are in your bigger feeders. Of course, some of these still coming off tall grass pastures there just to the south and around Salina, Kansas. But 307 head of 7-weight steers averaged 751 pounds with a weighted average price of $260.05. There were 1,147 head of 8-weight steers averaged 843 at 240.27, and 678 head of 9-weight steers averaged 934, the weighted average price of $231.31. Now look at the best tested weights of heifers. There were 218 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 651 at 253.65, and 437 head of 8-weight heifers in Salina, Kansas. They averaged 847 with a weighted average price of $226.78. Give you some individual quotes from all around the circuit. How about Paris, Kentucky stockyards there? DV Auction broadcaster, they sell them awfully well out there. How about 73 steers weighed 763 and bring 250.270, weighing that close to 8, way out there in Kentucky through the ring, guys. How about Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota? They sell 62 big steers weighed 920 and bring 249.50. But the most impressive quote for where they were at and other reasons there, and your Macrocin no BS top quote of the day, come out of Stockman's Livestock Exchange, which is fixing to add DV Auction broadcasting here in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be going up and plumbing that deal in before their big special. But out of Dickinson, North Dakota at the West Barn, they sold 82 steers weighed 769 and bring 267 1/4. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.